61-year-old Mike Calamia has ridden and worked on motorcycles his whole life. And he's even built bikes like these beauties in the shop where he now works.
I like to put my ideas into a motorcycle that's different. None of the motorcycles I build are the same.
Mike married Maricris in the Philippines in 2005. They lived there for a year. When they returned to the States, Mike had a hard time finding a job. That's when he started to learn about a principle that changed everything. Mike knew that Maricris watched the 700 Club every day, but he didn't know she was giving money to the ministry.
I said, honey, what are you doing? She says, well, I've been doing this for a couple of months. I told her first that we couldn't afford to send $20. I wasn't working. She was doing ironing and things for a neighbor.
But then Mike began to think about what he saw his wife doing with the little bit that she was making.
My wife was giving all she had. And she showed me, I'm sorry. She showed me what real giving is, the heart of giving.
Maricris also urged Mike to watch the 700 Club with her.
We started watching 700 Club and listening to Pat and Gordon. And so then we started learning about Malachi 3:10. And I said, well, okay, if I'm going to give $20, then the Lord will give it back to us.
So Mike sent off a check to CBN.
About a week later, I sold a motorcycle engine that I had in my shed for $2,500. I had it there for years. I had almost forgotten about it.
When Mike went back into the house and told Maricris what happened, she reminded him about what they'd been learning.
First thing my wife says is, you got to give $250 to the Lord. And I said, why? And I said, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right, honey. We have to give $250 to the Lord. So we mailed that into CBN.
Soon after that, the couple was watching a CBN telethon and they increased their pledge to 700 Club Gold, or $40 a month.
Well, shortly after that, I got a job. And then we had friends that had a beautiful home. They asked us to live there, take care of the house, free of rent. Rent-free for over 5 years? That was a blessing.
The couple then increased to the 1,000 Club and eventually became CBN founders.
Our income has increased, and it's real funny because every time we increase our giving, the Lord finds ways to increase our earnings. It's really strange. I went from making $20 an hour to making $42 an hour.
Not only that, Maricris started a small business cleaning houses. Over the past few years, she's gone from 1 client to 7. Mike and Maricris know the answer to God's provision in their lives is simple.
The secret is obeying Him. That's the secret. You ask any Christian, do you believe the Bible? Of course. Do you believe God can't lie? Well, of course He can't lie. Then why don't you believe this? God says, test Him. Prove Him wrong. You can't prove Him wrong. He's going to prove Himself right just by obeying what He asks you to do.